Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Ron and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing the packing solid black tutorial. So I'm just tattooing my leg here. So this is a really old tattoo. I'm not gonna worry about the lines, the outer lines. I'm just gonna worry about covering all the yellow. All right. So there's two ways that I go about packing black. Disclaimer, of course, this is how I do things. This is not the only way to do things. I'm not guaranteeing this is the best way to do things, but this is the way that I do things that work for me. So I'm going to demonstrate. The first one here is going to be using a round shader. This was my go-to for a very long time up until recently, where I figured out how to pack more efficiently with the mag. So right here I have a 1011 round shader, and I'm just doing, the standard circle technique. I have my volts up to like 7.4. I'm using my Ava EP7 Plus 4.2 millimeter stroke. So this thing hits hard, guys. Really hard actually. So this hurts. Believe it or not, this really hurts. So here in a little bit I start spraying Bactine on it, and it really helps kind of get through it. So right here, I kind of I'm starting off with the circles, and then I kind of go into the back and forth, like like you're filling in with a pencil or something, and that works as well, as long as you stay more even about it. So just like you're mowing the lawn, you just want to overlap where you last passed to get the most coverage. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is a round shader, a 1011. Now this is just for me. I just find it a little bit easier to work with 10 gauge liners, especially with a bigger round shader like this. You have a smaller diameter needle, and I just find it a little bit easier to penetrate the skin and get down there and start doing work with. So I'm doing the circles here. So another big thing here too, guys, is you want to have the correct taper needle. A lot of why I was struggling with too was I was using long taper needles. And if you don't know what taper is, I have a video, a really old video that kind of I'm going up to with an eye loop to look at these different the tapers of the needle. So with the longer taper needle, it's going to do essentially it's going to take more passes to put down more ink, which is why I primarily only use long taper mags to put down really light grays. Whenever I do so, I don't hardly ever do light grays as much as I'd like to, but so as you can see there, it's black. You know what I mean? So where was I at? I was at tapers. Okay, so with you want a medium taper, at least a standard taper. With my experience with cartridges, if the box is not marked with the taper, I'm pretty sure you can safely assume that it's a standard 5mm taper. But with these, I'm using a Coil 1011, and here you can see I'm rubbing in the Bactine because I'm like, this shit hurts. So with the Coil, I found that a lot of their round shaders and mags are a 3.5mm taper. If I'm wrong, I'm doing a voiceover on this too, guys, so if not, I'll just put a pop in later and correct myself. But a 3.5mm taper, so that's a medium taper. Correct me if I'm wrong. So a blunter needle tip, so you got more needles punching the skin. There I'm showing you my needle hang on the mag here. Now I'm just barely hanging it out there. So these cartridges, these are Legend cartridges from Cam Supply. They are extremely affordable. They come in a medium taper, and they're open, and they work quite well. So this is a 7. I believe it's a 10-7. It could be a standard 7. I'm pretty sure it's a 10-7, but So I'm going to demonstrate the circles here, which is not my primary way to do it, but it does work. So here I have my machine, keeping my machine at like 7274. And I'm just demonstrating the small circles. So here I'm just kind of letting my I'm kind of letting the weight of the machine do most of the work, and I'm kind of locking my wrist and just making sure that all the needles are touching at the same time. So another thing that will help too is a flat mag. Standard mag will flat mag will help you cover it more evenly too. So another big important thing too is you want to hold your machine just upright. So if you think about it, these mags are rows of needles stacked on top of each other, right? So if you're holding your machine to what's the word, parallel, I guess. So if you're holding your machine too flat, I guess, right, you're only going to let the bottom needles be touching the skin. So one thing I noticed early on is when I would pack, as my first couple circles would saturate, and then when I would leave my wrist planted and I would move along, and towards the end of my pass they would get thinner and thinner, and that's just because I would leave my wrist planted and I would stretch out my hand, and they would end up pulling the top row of needles out of the skin. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to put pictures in here too. I'm just saying that to remind myself when I go through this again. So like I said earlier, I'm not going to worry about the line work. I'm just worrying about getting in between the lines. So this is just cross hatching, you know what I mean? I'm going over it quickly here because I've already gone over it once. Alright, so I believe here I'm going to I might turn my machine down. Here soon I'm going to turn my machine down, and I'm going to demonstrate a method that seems to work better for me. And that is lower voltage, faster hand movements. And I'm using world famous Blackout, kind of like my go-to ink. It doesn't have any glycerin in it. It's really thin, and I just love how black it is. Heals very nicely. So here we go. Hard to see on this screen, but I'm going 6.8. I'm going to demonstrate here. This is the fastest way to do it for me. So make sure you're getting in a good stretch, guys. I'm putting down some of my Element Glide here. So this is just a back and forth. People call this the shovel method, I believe. So I'm just using the tip of the cartridge, and I'm just using the weight of the machine in my hand just to kind of stop it from completely burying, and I'm just going back and forth multiple times. See right there, that second pass, I didn't really have my machine held at the 45 enough, you know. So I actually learned, I'm realizing this is not centered, so it's kind of hard to focus on the camera and what I'm doing too, so I apologize for that. But I learned this this trick from, I can't remember his name, but I'll put it in here somewhere. But he'll turn his machine down to like 5 volts, and he'll do this really fast motion, and it's just super smooth black. So, and this is just practice, guys. You just got to practice, and you can pick these things up too. So yeah, just fast hand motions back and forth, and when I get into a corner, I try to pick up the speed a little bit more, just because I'm covering less of an area. So the trick, the name of the game here is getting as most ink in as few passes as possible, I suppose. Like, but I'm calling these fast, each turn of this fast motion one pass. So I'm not going to get into hand speed and voltage, just because this is something that you guys are just going to have to find on your own. So, but matching your hand speed and your voltage is it's going to be different for everybody. It's going to be different on your machine too. Like my GTX S, 8 volts is what I did everything at. I did everything at 8 volts, so sometimes 8.2. But this Ava, it hits so hard that I hardly ever have to go over 7.2, even with big liners. So yeah, just shoveling back and forth. As you can see, it's nice and black. Make sure you're getting a good stretch on too, guys. Sometimes I start getting too comfortable and I forget about the stretch, so yeah, I'm just locking the wrist and just kind of rocking my hand back and forth to get it, make sure and to ensure that my needles are staying as flat as possible. So, only bad thing I have to say about this method is, and I guess this is something I will develop with more time doing this method, is the accuracy. Accuracy is really low. So, but here I'm just demonstrating. I'm not worried about the line work. I'm just filling in all the spot that is yellow, just because you guys, the 7 of you guys that voted decided that you wanted some help packing black. So, and packing black is something that I really, really did struggle with up until recently. And there's still some areas of the skin that I do struggle with, especially like the softer spots, like the back of the arm and stuff like that. But yeah, and I could have demonstrated this on fake skin, but it's just fake skin it's just real skin is just real skin. You know what I mean? It doesn't really, packing black especially, like it's you can really just bury anything in the fake skin and it will pack black into it. So I don't know why, that's just my experience, but another thing I'm going to go into here too is I'll do the shovel. I'll do the shovel method, but then I will kind of turn my machine a little to the right. That way it kind of turns my needles a little bit off to the kilter, so that way it fills the gap between the needles. This is kind of hard to do without demonstrating with my hand, but I will try to put pop-ins as best as I can right here for you guys. So I'm just doing half of the V. I just do half the V. I'm just gonna wipe it down with green soap. I will kind of go over the edges and shit later. So, and just like another disclaimer too, guys, is I am not a professional by any means, but I do practice safe tattooing, which means that I know the basics of clean, sanitize, sterilize. I am bloodborne pathogen certified, so just so you guys know. So here you can see here I'm turning my needles kind of sideways, and this will kind of ensure better coverage. You know what I mean? This will kind of fill those gaps between those very, very small gaps between the needles, if you turn it that way. So yeah, I am just not a big fan of tattooing myself. I have some Bactine on now, so the Bactine does really help. So, only thing is with if you guys are gonna use Bactine, just make sure you've already gone over your stencil, because Bactine will absolutely destroy your stencil. And I did learn that the hard way. So there's blood here, guys. This is just, a, I'm just leaving all this in here. I just want to show you guys that, this is just, this is just how real it is for me. I'm not some tattoo god. I'm just a regular guy that loves tattooing, and so these are just, you guys are going with me on the journey here, so. And I appreciate all you guys' comments and questions and stuff like that. So I don't have the answers to everything, but I believe if we work together that we can figure all of this out. So one thing about the leg too is that I'm learning is that it's really hard to get super smooth. Hopefully someone can help me with that in here by watching this video, but it's hard to get super smooth. I don't know if that's just my lack of my hand technique, or maybe I'm running my machine too fast and spending too much time in the skin, especially when I line. Something you want to be very careful with is going sideways. But the skin in most areas is really resilient, guys. So, and you'd really have to try really hard to blow out with a liner, but we're getting close to the end here. Yeah, I think right here I turned it down to 6-7. See, I have my needle off kilter, my hand off kilter here, and I'm just going to do the back and forth. Kind of doing the ghost pass there. Excuse me, just to make sure that it's going to go, my hand's going to go where I want to when I stretch it. That was a nice pass right there. Just a couple passes, nice solid black. Not so great there. So yeah, what I'm doing right here is I'm just kind of like, I'm using the bottom of the tip as a guide, and I'm just kind of using my hand to cradle the weight of the machine and pushing it back and forth. So I'm letting the weight of the machine and the motor and then, do all the work for me. So I'm not really using any hand pressure. I'm just kind of letting it dance. Yeah, I do have to say, like, maybe a little tip, piece of advice if you're like just starting out. Once you get comfortable going off of fake skin, like just I would start with arms primarily, just, and then maybe get around to legs. So once again, I'm doing that sideways here just to kind of mark out where my edge is going to be. I thought about lining this all out again with my round shader, but I was like, no, this hurts too much, so. Yeah, Bactine, man, Bactine is my hero on this one. I do not, especially on top of the leg, it hurts, so. So, you know, we're getting close to the end here, guys. We got about 2 minutes, 30 seconds left. So, I hope this was helpful. Of course, if you're going to be packing something solid, you're probably going to want anything over a 3.5 millimeter stroke. So, if you know rotary machines, you know, higher the stroke, harder the hit. You know, always start with your voltage down low and then see where that takes you. Just be safe, guys. Use common sense. Alright, so just to kind of wrap this up. So, medium taper mags, standard taper mags. Stay away from long taper mags if you're going to pack solid color. You know, if you do use long taper mags, you got to figure it out. Then this video probably isn't for you, but I do appreciate you watching. So, standard medium taper mags, 3.5, between 3.5 and 5. Those are good packing cartridges, needles, or whatever. Holding your machine at the upright angle so that way both stacks of needles are entering the skin. And your choice, higher voltage circles or lower voltage shovel motion. These are what I use to pack. As you can see, solid black fill. Not necessarily all up to the line, but it is solid black right here. So. Well, that was the packing tutorial, guys. Thank you for watching. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, just hit me down below in the comment section. I don't know if the algorithm's going to pick this one up like it did the first tutorial, which was nice. Brought in a lot of new people, but it's what it is. I'm going to remain grateful for the people I do have that support me right now. So we're at 416 strong subscribers. That's pretty awesome. I never thought I'd be here. So I just want to say thank you, guys. This is me. This is the room here. It's a little messy right now, but yeah. So this is how I'm going to end it. So I love you guys. God bless. Any questions, just let me know, and peace.